Howdy, my name is Anne McCarthy. I'm an architecture and open source leader at Automatic, and I'm also a sponsor contributor to the WordPress project. And I wanted to talk about how a new design for the jobs.wordpress.net was implemented, and how jobs.wordpress.net went from looking like this to looking like this. So to start, I want to jump into Claude, and this is going to be almost stupidly simple. I prompted Claude to redesign jobs.wordpress.net in the style of WordPress.org. And I asked it to look across WordPress.org to create a new version of the job site that matched the colors, the style, and the feel. But I also wanted there to feel like an actual extension, but also some specific flair for the site. So I have some skills lined up in here. I'm using superpowers, so it kicked those off. And it looked at both the things to continue brainstorming. And so I like to often prompt Claude to think before acting, and to go through and have it ask me questions. And that's part of why I did this. So it looks through, it asked me for a shape of the design, and I wanted a multi-page site because I wanted to actually have a more immersive prototype that could be clicked on and explored to better communicate my ideas. And so that's what it's asking here. When it came to navigation, I thought it would be interesting to keep it simpler rather than keeping the existing navigation items. This is something we can change later, but I like the idea of simplifying it, making it look more like WordPress.org. So in this case, I said lean towards option 1. I want to keep things simple. Now, in terms of the categories and filters, it gave me different options as well. And I also agreed that we should simplify these. And so I also at this time dropped in the theme that powers WordPress.org. And this repo is public, and it shows basically the block theme that's used to power the main website. And the reason I did that is because a lot of time and effort went into redesigning WordPress.org. And there's tons and tons of design time and developer time to get everything exactly right. So I wanted to take advantage of that human time spent and make sure we reused it in this case as well. So now I had an understanding of the design system of the WordPress.org theme and asked me one more thing, like what kind of flair do you want? And in this case, it was able to pull from the WordPress.org color palette different accents, different from the primary blueberry blue. So in this case, I really like the acid green, and I agreed with it. It presented the acid green, and I think that kind of adds some nice flair, some different coloring to the site to make it close enough but different. And you'll notice it says it was already in the WordPress.org design token system. So that's the power of sending it to the site to get a sense of its bearings, and then also to say, here's the exact repo, go look at it. It's one of the things I love to do with AI. So here we go. It confirms it for me. It basically says, here's what I'm going to do. Here's the setup. And I made sure to clarify, like, I want multiple jobs with multiple pages that you can click on. I want it to be more interactive. So great. It gave me it again and described everything it was going to do. And I said, yep, that looks great. Then it gave me a sense of the homepage design. Again, it's using certain colors that we already have. It also is using the font that it should be using. And in terms of the style, I kind of just wanted to see it. So I was pretty rushed at this point to just be like, give me something to look at. But overall, it matches the WordPress.org. So then it goes through and gives me a sense of the page structure. I reviewed it. It looks good to me. Finally, it did the same thing for posting a job in the FAQ pages. And again, it's using the right fonts and the style in a way that I think works really well. So I said, yep, build it. And then I made sure to clarify that I want to push it to GitHub pages to share with others. So then it's using a writing plan skill to do this. And it began. It offers me different ways to actually go about this. And I agree, I want to preview it quickly. So I said, yep, go with option 1. Now it's working to build everything. And then boom, the site was live locally. So then I started to look at the site and click through. I found some very minor feedback. There was just basically an issue with one of the buttons on the page. So I asked it to update that. It handled it, and then I said, all right, let's get it up there. This is what actually was created using Claude. And you'll notice some differences between what's actually been shipped whenever I shared this with the developer who was working on it. So for example, this accordion style on the FAQ page, this is the live site, is not there. It uses just the normal bold paragraph text. And you'll see it has a different setup here with adding something about frequently asked questions for job posters and job seekers, and it links down below. Where in this case, that didn't have that. But for the most part, when selecting different things, filtering, the coloring, a lot of it's the same. So this is, again, the live site. You can go down and you'll see these different things. And in this case, I simplified the 12 categories. And for the live site, we decided to keep it so that it would be, all of them would be listed there rather than the simplified options that I had here. That's about it. I just wanted to give you a behind the scenes peek of how the new WordPress jobs page came to be, and also want to welcome your feedback. I'd love to see more jobs opened here. There's 14 positions currently. I'd love to see hundreds more. Give us your feedback. Let us know how we can iterate. Thanks so much for watching.